Karen's smug cackle echoed through the courtyard, a sound so grating it could curdle milk. She stood there, a human wrecking ball, convinced her bulk and bluster made her untouchable. The smart lock on my rental apartment dangled in pieces, its wires exposed like the veins of her audacity. I just caught her red-handed, crowbar in one meaty fist, her phone in the other, gloating about teaching me a lesson for not bowing to her demands. This wasn't just a break-in. It was Karen declaring war on reason itself. I'd only been renting out Unit 4B for 3 months, a cozy one-bedroom in a modest complex on the edge of town. The tenant, Mia, a quiet graphic designer, paid on time and kept to herself. Enter Karen, the self-appointed queen of the complex, who lived in 4A and had decided Mia's existence was a personal affront. It started with petty complaints, Mia's loud typing, her suspicious packages, art supplies. I later learned, even the way she parked her bike too close to Karen's space. I ignored it at first. Karen's type thrives on attention, but her calls grew nastier, her voicemails laced with venom. "You'll regret renting to that girl," she'd hissed last week. I thought it was just talk. I was wrong. That evening, I got a frantic text from Mia. "Someone's trying to get into my place." I raced over, heart pounding, expecting a random burglar. Instead, I found Karen, all 300 pounds of her, wedged in Mia's doorway, fiddling with the smart lock's keypad. She'd somehow gotten her hands on a hacking app, probably from some shady corner of the internet, and was proud of it. "This is my complex," she spat when I arrived, her chins wobbling with indignation. "I deserve to know who's living here." Mia stood behind me, trembling, her phone already dialing 911. The air crackled with tension, like a storm about to break. Karen's logic, if you could call it that, was a twisted knot of entitlement. She claimed Mia was shady, that her late-night work-from-home sessions were disturbing the peace. Never mind that Mia's worst crime was sketching logos at 2 a.m. Karen had decided she was judge, jury, and executioner, and breaking into Mia's apartment was her way of investigating. She'd even roped in her enabling sidekick, Carl, a wiry retiree from 3C who nodded along like a bobblehead. Carl hovered nearby, muttering about community standards, but his eyes darted nervously when I mentioned the cops. "You can't do this, Karen," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "This is illegal. You're trespassing." Her response, a laugh so smug it could have starred in a villain montage. "Trespassing? I'm protecting this place. You're the one letting riffraff in." She gestured at Mia like she was Exhibit A in a courtroom drama. Mia, barely 5 feet tall and clutching her sketchpad like a shield, looked ready to cry but held her ground. "I pay my rent," she said quietly. "I just want to be left alone." Karen scoffed, rolling her eyes so hard I thought they'd get stuck. The police arrived within minutes, 2 officers stepping into the courtyard with the calm authority of people who'd seen it all. Officer Ramirez, a no-nonsense woman with a sharp gaze, took one look at the mangled lock and Karen's crowbar and raised an eyebrow. "Care to explain?" she asked. Karen launched into a tirade, claiming she was the victim, that Mia was up to something, and that I, the landlord, was negligent. She waved her phone, boasting about the hacking app like it was a badge of honor. "I got proof she's trouble," she insisted, though her proof was just screenshots of Mia's Instagram art posts. Ramirez wasn't buying it. She turned to me and Mia, listening as we laid out the timeline: Karen's harassment, her threats, and now this blatant break-in. "Carl," sensing the tide turning, started backpedaling, claiming he was just a bystander. Karen shot him a look that could melt steel, but he shuffled away, suddenly very interested in his shoes. The second officer, a burly guy named Thompson, examined the lock. "This is felony trespass," he said flatly, "and property damage. You're in deep, ma'am." Karen's face went from smug to sour, her mouth flapping like a fish out of water. "Felony? Me? I'm the good guy here." As they cuffed her, Karen's bravado cracked. She started whining about her rights, her voice pitching higher with every step toward the squad car. The neighbors, drawn by the commotion, peeked from their windows, whispering, "Mia, still shaken. Thank me quietly. I just wanted a safe place to live," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I felt a pang of guilt. Maybe I should have acted sooner." Evicted Karen when her complaints turned obsessive. But who expects someone to hack a smart lock over a neighbor dispute? The next day, I filed a lawsuit for felony trespass and property damage, seeking compensation for the lock and Mia's distress. Karen, out on bail, had the gall to call me, demanding I drop the case. "You're ruining my life," she wailed, as if she hadn't brought this on herself. I hung up, letting my lawyer handle it. The evidence was ironclad: security footage from the courtyard, Mia's testimony, even Carl's reluctant statement admitting Karen had planned the break-in for days. The hacking app on her phone sealed her fate. Turns out, it wasn't just a one-time stunt. She'd been researching ways to bypass locks for weeks. The courtroom was a circus. Karen showed up in a loud floral dress, still playing the victim, her lawyer looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. She tried to spin a sob story about protecting the community, but the judge wasn't having it. "You violated someone's home," he said, his voice like a gavel. "You don't get to play vigilante because you don't like your neighbor." Mia's testimony was heartbreaking. She spoke about feeling unsafe, about losing sleep, about wondering if she'd have to move. I could see jurors shifting uncomfortably, their eyes flicking to Karen with disgust. The verdict came fast: guilty on all counts. Karen was ordered to pay for the damages, plus a hefty fine, and got 6 months of probation. The judge also granted a restraining order, barring her from contacting Mia or stepping foot near 4B. I evicted her the next week, citing the lease's zero-tolerance clause for criminal behavior. Karen's stuff was packed up by movers while she screamed about injustice from the sidewalk. The neighbors cheered when her van finally pulled away. But the real victory wasn't just Karen's punishment, it was Mia reclaiming her peace. She stayed in 4B, her sketches now hanging proudly on the walls. She even started a small art class for the kids in the complex, turning her pain into something beautiful. I upgraded the locks to a higher security model, just in case another Karen lurked out there. The courtyard, once a battleground, felt quiet again, the air no longer thick with her toxic presence. Karen's downfall was a lesson in karma, sharp and unforgiving. She'd built her throne on entitlement, believing she could bully her way through life without consequence. But the world doesn't bend to people like her forever. Sometimes, it takes a broken lock, a furious tenant, and a pair of handcuffs to remind us that justice, though slow, always finds its mark. The end.